Welcome to the Rogel Cancer Center Overview. I'm Eric Fearon, Director of the Rogel Cancer Center, and I'll be giving you a high-level view of the structure and initiatives in the Rogel Cancer Center. The Rogel Cancer Center's mission is to reduce the burden of cancer via transdisciplinary collaboration in research, education, patient care, and community outreach. Our vision is to advance innovations in prevention, early diagnosis, optimal treatment, and care for all at risk of or affected by cancer. The Rogel Cancer Center is one of 73 designated cancer centers designated by the National Cancer Institute in 37 states and the District of Columbia. We are a comprehensive cancer center and among the 57 comprehensive cancer centers designated by the NCI. There are also 9 clinical cancer centers and 7 basic cancer centers. Each cancer center is unique and makes distinctive contributions to the national cancer mission. The diversity of the cancer centers dramatically enhances the collective national impact of the investment of the NCI and the Cancer Centers program. I'll tell you a little bit about the Cancer Support Grant Mechanism, otherwise known as the CCSG. The P30 is the grant that supports the CCSG, and it supports our cancer center and other NCI-designated cancer centers. CCSGs support all 3 types of cancer centers: comprehensive, clinical, and basic cancer centers. The NCI uses the Cancer Center Support Grant for a number of mechanisms. One is to facilitate cancer discoveries and advance those discoveries along the continuum to impact patients. Another is to continue to support outstanding shared resources that allow our investigators to take advantage of unique and complex equipments and technology. Another opportunity of NCI cancer centers is to collaborate not only within the cancer center, but with other NCI-designated cancer centers. And then a 4th goal of the CCSG program is to disseminate research findings to reduce the burden of cancer and enhance health equity for the community. All NCI cancer centers are distinctive, as I noted earlier, and Joe Simone, one of the sages of the Cancer Center Support Grant field and cancer center structure, said appropriately, when you've seen one cancer center, you've seen one cancer center. But Dr. Simone articulated a number of features of successful academic cancer centers. One is the clarity of their mission, having clear vision and goals. Another is the fact that they integrate multidisciplinary research activities across the full cancer continuum. In addition, multidisciplinary clinical programs are another distinctive feature, as are high standards of care and the ability to actually advance innovation in care delivery. Yet another feature of successful academic cancer centers is constructive debate. Integrated education and development are also important aspects of NCI and academic cancer centers. And lastly, he highlighted continuous improvement as another key attribute. So these are the features that you might take away from cancer centers in general that unite them in their missions. The Rogel Cancer Center profile is indicated here. We have 390 core faculty from 55 departments and 9 schools and colleges at the University of Michigan. Those schools and colleges that we have members from are highlighted in the center panel, and you can see not only the medical school, but many other schools around the campus. In addition, Rogel Cancer Center takes advantage of institutes and centers as well as initiatives that cut across the full fabric of the university, and those are highlighted on the right. Many of those institutes, centers, and initiatives cut across multiple schools and certainly many departments, and the Rogel Cancer Center members participate in those centers, institutes, and initiatives. In the left-hand panel, the Rogel Cancer Center actually has several centers and institutes within its structure. They include the Forbes Institute for Cancer Discovery, the Center of Excellence for Cancer Immunology and Immunotherapy, the Ronald Weiser Center for Prostate Cancer, the Weiser Family Center for Breast Cancer, and the newest center, the Rogel and Blondie Center for Pancreatic Cancer. The Rogel Cancer Center profile in terms of funding, publications, and clinical trials is highlighted on this slide. You can see our research funding and annual direct costs has increased over the period shown here from 2021 to the 2025 fall period, rising from $105 million to $122 million of annual direct costs in October of 2025. Our NCI funding, highlighted in light blue, is remained relatively steady across this period, and our NIH funded has grown. In addition, we take advantage of other peer-reviewed funding from other foundations and agencies, and we also benefit from extensive industry and external support that's non-peer reviewed. Our publications are shown in a year-by-year fashion, albeit not for the full year for 2025, and you can see we have considerable evidence of collaboration between programs and within our programs, and a very high fraction of our publications are published in high-impact journals with impact factor greater than 10. The third panel shows our efforts in clinical trials, and these are shown in terms of accruals to both treatment and non-treatment trials across the period. And we're working very hard to continue to grow our interventional non-treatment and interventional treatment trials. Our Senior Leadership Council plays a key role in strategic planning and strategic allocation of resources across the full Cancer Center. The leadership is highlighted here. You can see it covers many of the missions of the Cancer Center in clinical care, in discovery, translational, and population science research, as well as clinical research, in education and training, in serving communities, supporting administration, advancing quantitative data science, and then in leading efforts to unite our center with others around the state. So the leadership team is a highly effective and dynamic one, and we're really grateful to all of their efforts. The Rogel Cancer Center serves the full state of Michigan, and that's defined as our catchment area. It's 10 million residents, and the state has 83 counties. Michigan has roughly an average cancer incidence relative to the nation, but we have the 13th highest cancer mortality. So we have great work to do to reduce the burden of cancer and mortality from cancer in our state. We've defined priority cancers to shape our initiatives and focus our attention on some of the cancers that are high incidence, high mortality cancer problems in our state. And you can see those are prostate, lung, pancreas, liver, breast, colorectal, and hematologic malignancies. Another cancer type that we remain keenly interested in, but it's arguably a developing program, is in uterine cancer. Some of the other issues that shape our efforts to reduce the burden of cancer include opportunities in cancer screening, as well as in addressing health behaviors and health status that affect cancer incidence and outcomes. Rogel Cancer Strategic Plan was developed in 2021 for the 2022 to 27 period, and we'll be updating it in the upcoming year. It's entitled Discoveries to Cures to Communities, and it consists of 6 strategic pillars: research, clinical research and patient care, training and education, community outreach, cancer health, opportunity and impact, and infrastructure. These pillars have considerable degrees of detail below them, but I won't cover those. But I'll give you a high-level sense of some of the investments and ongoing initiatives across these pillars in the upcoming slides. The Rogel Cancer Center's research is really in 3 main priority areas: cancer initiation, progression, and resistance, cancer treatment and care delivery paradigms, and cancer risk reduction. As I mentioned previously, catchment area priorities, priority cancers, and risk factors and populations play a shaping role in our research efforts. And our work across the full continuum in cancer research is led by the fact we have 9 cross-cutting themes that unite our research programs and our 390 members. And those are highlighted in the slide. I'll talk about these a little bit later as how they relate not only to our research programs, but some other aspects of our cancer center. We have 6 research programs that are highlighted. They cut across the continuum here. 3 of the programs are basic in nature, and those are highlighted on the left. And the other 3 programs are translational in nature and include clinical research in the programs. So to just give you a sense of these programs, I'll take you through their high-level specific aims and give you a better sense of the work within them. The Signaling and Tumor Microenvironment program has 3 aims: 1 in signaling, a 2nd in tumor microenvironment, and a 3rd in metabolic pathways. The Cancer Genetics program has three aims as well, one in mechanism, another in models, and a third aim in translation. Developmental therapeutics, the third of our basic science programs, has an aim in target validation, a second aim in lead optimization, third aim in drug candidates. Our hematologic malignancy program is one of our three translational programs, and it has an aim that focuses on cancer mechanisms, another in crosstalk among cells in the tissue and tumor microenvironment, and a third aim in translation. Translational and clinical research program is focused on solid tumor translational and clinical research. It has three aims as well: molecular approaches, disease monitoring, and clinical trials. And the sixth of our program, cancer control and population science, includes targets, strategies, and approaches to reduce the burden of cancer through early detection and understanding the origins and factors that shape cancer development, all the way across the continuum to efforts in survivorship and quality and value of care. The leadership of our programs and the number of members and annual direct costs are highlighted on this slide. I won't take you through it, but I know you'll enjoy meeting these program leaders that are highlighted on the slide and learning more about each of these programs. I'll next tell you about some of our research accomplishments in the recent period that capture the Rogel Cancer Center's efforts across the cancer continuum. The first example comes from our pancreas cancer group, which is a really robust one. It's now supported, as I mentioned, by the Rogel and Blondie Pancreas Cancer Center. The leaders of that center are Drs. Tim Frankel, Marina Pasca de Magliano, and Kostas Lysiotis. And this example highlighted on the slide comes from the laboratories of Kostas Lysiotis, Pasca de Magliano, and Jackie Shi. The example highlights the notion that uridine plays a key role in sustaining pancreas cancer in nutrient-challenged conditions. I won't take you through all the details in the slide, but the high-level takeaway of the study was that uridine metabolism is an important compensatory mechanism in nutrient-challenged settings, and it's a novel metabolic axis for developing new therapies for pancreatic ductal adenocarcinoma. This paper was published in 2023 from the laboratory groups, and it was published in the journal Nature, and it used the tissue and molecular pathology core. So that's just one example of how Rogel supported the work, among others. You can see at the top right-hand side of the slide the research themes that unite this work that I mentioned previously, of those 9 cross-cutting themes in the center. The next example I'll show you is another example in the metabolism field. In this case, it's in brain tumors. It comes from a very large and robust group studying adult brain tumors. And those investigators are highlighted at the right. Drs. Wall, Lawrence, Al-Halou, and others are highlighted there. And the example here was a really innovative collection of work studying how glucose played a role in sustaining brain tumors in vivo, not only in mouse models, but in patient-derived tissues. And what was demonstrated was that gliomas actually scavenge amino acids from the extracellular environment, and in particular, serine plays a key role in sustaining their growth and behavior. And the work actually showed that dietary amino acid modulation to selectively remove serine from the diet in an animal model had a significant effect on glioma metabolism and slowed tumor growth. So the work highlights how critical metabolism is in sustaining, in this case, brain cancer, glioblastoma growth. And the work has now led to ongoing development of clinical trials with a serine and glycine-depleted diets that will be administered to patients in combination with conventional therapies in an effort to see whether significant effects on tumor development and progression can be achieved with, hopefully, regressions. Very exciting work going all the way from laboratory discovery to translation in animal models and now to clinical trials. And I think it captures how the Rogel Cancer Center can support work across the full continuum. The last example I'll tell you about, could tell you about many more, but time limits my ability to detail some of these really exciting findings from our members. But this last example comes from Dr. Lapidus and colleagues, Dr. Hallig, Dr. Morgan, and Dr. Zickman Fisher. What the group did was they advanced the concept of patient-centered pathology reports to increase patient understanding of prostate cancer diagnosis and the ability of patients to better understand their level of risk as compared to traditional reports that patients might receive. And what they established was that patient-centered pathology reports, here known as PCPR, the recipients of those had a much better understanding of their cancer status and interpreting the risk than patients just receiving standard university or VA report forms. So it's really impactful work highlighting how integrating patient-centered pathology reports into routine care could transform how communication occurs with patients and help them better understand their cancer diagnosis and the risk and the treatment plans for them. This work was published in JAMA in February of 2025, and it used a number of important resources in cancer, in particular the health communications resource. And again, the top right, you can see the themes that the research engages with. Yet another example, I won't tell you about this in detail about the paper, is really a practice-changing example from Dr. Jen Zhu and Dr. Mishal Mendaradalala. Dr. Zhu, over a long period of time, through really brilliant work, developed an approach known as histotripsy, which uses a high-energy ultrasound to destroy tissue and, in particular, tumors. She and her colleagues advanced this to a system that was developed with an external partner known as Histosonics, and it's the Edison system, the Edison histotripsy system. And then the work was then pursued in a clinical trial at multiple institutions, including the Rogel Cancer Center. Dr. Mishal Mendaradalala led the trial, and you can see the publication highlighting that work at the right. And it showed that this was a very safe and effective approach at destroying not only the surrounding liver tissue that was treated with the histotripsy, but also the tumors themselves. And really, it's a non-invasive, non-thermal, non-ionizing approach that patients have a high degree of satisfaction with. We have great hope that it'll apply not only to liver tumors, but a number of other solid tumors. And it received FDA clearance and FDA approval to be used in patients in the past few years. So an extremely exciting advance for the Rogel Cancer Center and the University of Michigan. The cancer centers actually have a scorecard, not only for the kinds of things I've told you about, but for many, many other aspects of the cancer center. And the scorecard is highlighted here. It includes what are known as the 6 essential characteristics of cancer centers that all cancer centers are judged by: their physical space, their organizational capabilities, their ability to translate and pursue team and transdisciplinary research across the continuum, their degree of cancer focus in their work, the institutional commitment to the center, as well as the center director. As I noted, we have 6 research programs. They each receive a score. There are then other multiple key components of the Cancer Center Support Grant that receive scores that are highlighted in the center. And then one of the other key areas of support from the Cancer Center Support Grant is for shared resources, of which the Rogel Cancer Center has 13 full shared resources. So just tell you a little bit about the essential characteristics and highlight a few of those aspects. Physical space is, as you can imagine, the actual facilities at the Cancer Center and those around the institution that the Cancer Center can utilize. Organizational capabilities really describe how well the Cancer Center can capitalize on its leadership teams and structure and interface with units and departments and colleges and schools. Transdisciplinary collaboration and coordination describes the initiatives, the strategies, the tactics that the Cancer Center uses to advance work across the continuum, often most effectively in teams that work across schools and across units. Cancer Focus describes the number and the quality of the funding for the Cancer Center's investigators, as well as its activities in clinical trials. Institutional commitment is highlighted by the resources that the Cancer Center receives from the institution to advance the Cancer Center's goals and objectives. And then the Cancer Center Director is scored as another score-driving feature for the Cancer Center Director's leadership impact on the center. In terms of organizational capabilities, just give you a sense of some of the activities there. We have a highly experienced and engaged leadership team, and it's really, I think, a team kind of concept that you often hear at Michigan. We have a really strong administrative team, and the Rogel Cancer Center has a number of initiatives to invest in our members and their successes. We've also built new and enhanced collaborations with other University of Michigan centers and institutes. In terms of the Rogel Cancer Center's investments, which is part of the organizational capability but also institutional commitment, we have some strategic initiatives that really fall into program-based work, including Cancer Research Committee grants that fund early-stage pilot grants, innovative work. We have another mechanism called First and Goal that helps to reposition grants that received promising scores from the National Institute of Health or the National Cancer Center to position them for a successful second attempt. We also have some grants that support projects across the team and translational area, the Forbes Institute, as well as some program project pilots. In addition, we have mechanisms to support faculty recruitment, retention, and recognition, such as the Rogel Scholars and some of the other initiatives supported by the Rogel Gift. And we are lucky enough to have significant investments in infrastructure as well as in other strategic areas. In terms of the CCSG components, I mentioned those as well. They include community outreach and engagement, training, education, career development and coordination, clinical research, leadership planning and evaluation, developmental funds, shared resource management and administration. I'll tell you a little bit about each of these components. In terms of community outreach and engagement, our goal is to reduce the burden of cancer around the full state of Michigan and beyond, as well as to improve the quality of care that patients receive in their areas around the state. So the three specific aims for community outreach and engagement are to identify and communicate the cancer burden, to implement and evaluate evidence-based interventions, and to facilitate bidirectional research. Some of our initiatives that the COE team's been engaged in and is continuing to pursue over the current period and beyond include community-based grants, Cancer in Focus program, a mammogram call screening approach, a community advisory board, and Grand Rapids efforts include Grand Rapids Men's Health Brunch. In terms of training, education, and career development, we have a really robust portfolio of activities in this area, which at Michigan we call TREC. At the Cancer Center level, it's often called CERTEC for Cancer Research Training and Education Coordination. The specific aims of our TREC program are to coordinate, develop, and deploy programs to support the continuum of cancer trainees, to promote career development, mentoring, and leadership opportunities in cancer care and research, and to assess, evaluate, and continuously improve our impact. Some of our activities across the CERTEC or TREC area include activities focused on high school students, such as the Summer Healthcare Experience Program, the SHE Oncology Program, an undergraduate-focused program known as the Pathways Program, a new initiative that engages some of the Pathways Program trainees in further continuing education activities in serving communities, and that program's called the Community Cancer Corps. We also have some activities for faculty colleagues, early career faculty, including the Emerging Cancer Scholar Exchange, and this program that you're now participating in, the Rogel Connect program. In terms of CPDM and PRS are clinical protocol development and management and protocol review and monitoring system, falling really into the clinical research component. We benefit from some exceptional leaders in clinical research who are highlighted on this slide, focused on disease-based areas or more disease-agnostic areas such as in biomarker development and validation and in cancer prevention and survivorship. But the remainder of them focus on disease-based areas, and these individuals coordinate and lead our activities to develop new clinical trials, both interventional non-treatment and interventional treatment trials. In terms of clinical research, we also have a robust structure for overseeing all clinical research trials that are carried out in the cancer area, and some of the critical individuals who play leadership roles in the Cancer Center are highlighted here, including Kyle Cuneo and John Maganow, and others such as Paul Swisicki, Scott Schutze, and Matt Innes. In terms of shared resources, we benefit from some exceptional leadership there as well. Dr. Evan Keller and Dr. Sethu Pichiyama are two leaders for shared resources. Shared resources are one of the critical things that support members across the full continuum. The mission of the shared resource management component of the grant is three aims. It includes expertise and service, quality control, and future needs. And in general, the shared resource management is to provide state-of-the-art services, technology, and expertise to enable collaborative, transformative cancer research. Yet another way we try and show how our cross-cutting themes unite with these shared resources is shown here, and I won't take you through all of them, but you can again see the 9 cross-cutting themes that unite our research programs in collaborative work, highlighted on the left, And then our shared resources, the 13 shared resources highlighted on the right, and how they align with some of these aims. In terms of updating our members on new services that are being added to shared resources and changes to the structure of the leadership teams and development of new shared resources and their potential for impact, we try and highlight that through some specific communication strategies. One of them is instrumental, where it highlights new services, research areas of impact, and news and updates. And we like to receive as much feedback as we can about our shared resources, and so we provide annual surveys, and we really hope that you'll participate in those. We also encourage you to reach out as you find issues or you receive great service. We'd like to hear from you on both sides of the coin there. And in addition, as you use shared resource and publish papers, please cite the Cancer Center Support Grant in your manuscripts and in your posters. In terms of future plans for the Rogel Cancer Center, we really continue to emphasize this notion of very high-level research priorities, an emphasis on addressing key issues that may reduce the burden and improve cancer outcomes and quality of life for patients in our catchment area, and efforts to unite our work across the 6 cancer programs by themes that link them. The approach really is to prioritize as we go forward initiatives that unite multiple cross-cutting themes, to leverage Rogel's strengths and unique catchment area opportunities, and most of all, to translate our discoveries for patient and population impact. In terms of benefits of Rogel membership, we just highlight for you it's an opportunity to learn about colleagues from different schools and different departments and how their work can advance your own work. And we think collaboration is really one of the great distinguishing features in the Rogel Cancer Center and really the University of Michigan, the ability to engage teams and researchers across the cancer continuum. In addition, we have distinctive resources in terms of pilot funding, shared resources, and other mechanisms of support that we think will benefit your work. We have grant opportunities in team science and other areas that you can participate in and join for external applications. And in addition, we're always looking for individuals who will help us with our leadership of the structure of the center and the initiatives across it. At the end of the day, we're only as good as our members and their engagement in the center. So we really encourage you to be as engaged as your time and interests allow, because it really will help us achieve the impact that we seek for long-term impact on cancer care, improving cancer patient outcomes and quality of life, and really serving the full state through the work that we do and efforts beyond. In the upcoming period, we continue to organize ourselves around these 6 research programs. This is an image of the state with some of the environmental risks of cancer highlighted in different shading here. We owe a debt of gratitude to Lee Pierce and her colleagues in the MyCares program for sharing this slide with us. We just highlight some of the key research themes that we're emphasizing in the upcoming period that include tumor microenvironment metabolism, cancer immunity, epigenetics, targets, therapies, and trials, risk reduction efforts, as well as improving equity, outcome, and values for our members and serving the state. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me at fearon@umich.edu. And I hope you enjoy all of your experiences in the Cancer Center, and we look forward to hearing from you about how we can improve your experience and that of other members. Thank you.